All right. Good evening once again. Please confirm if you can hear me clearly. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I know that I'm going to a little bit step back a little because of the batch B that are joining this batch A. I know that in batch A, to an extent, we have already started looking at Microsoft Windows. We only have few things to actually conclude before we go into Microsoft Office Word. So but what I'm going to do, please, I'm going to take it with another curriculum from the one we used last time. So which means that even though we have stepped into it in batch A, as far the training is concerned, we are not going to repeat exactly what we did. So just make sure that you stay put because you are going to learn new things because I'm using a different model for tonight training. Okay, so let's look at general introduction to Microsoft Windows. General introduction to Microsoft Windows. Now, remember that our first class was on computer appreciation. And I told us that under computer appreciation, what you learn or what you are exposed to is basically the general introduction to the computer, that is the definition of computer. That is where you also understand various parts or components that makes up the computer system. That is where you also understand the advantages and the disadvantages of the computer system. That is where we explain the peripherals. I'm talking about the keyboard, the mouse, the system unit, the VDU, and their relationship. All right, so that is what computer appreciation takes care of. All right, so now the moment you understand what the computer system is, the moment you also understand that the computer system is not a single component, it's actually a combination of different parts or components. Okay, so sorry for that lost in transmission. Okay, so I was trying to recap. I was trying to recap or trying to give us a picture of the last class before we dive into tonight's topic. So I was saying that the computer appreciation is a subject that is expected to give us a background knowledge of what the computer system is all about. And that is why under it, we learned the definition of computer. Under it, we looked at different parts that makes up the computer system, such as the hardware part, the software, and other devices. Under it, we learned about the peripherals. All right, I told us that the peripherals are very essential. All right, it is almost impossible for you to operate the computer system without the peripherals. All right, so when I say peripherals, that can actually be broken into two branches or two aspects. We have the input peripherals. This constitutes all the components, all the devices, such as mouse, your keyboard, your scanner, your light pen, so long that device is for imputing information or sending facts to be processed into the system or even instruction. That falls under the input peripherals. They will also have the output peripherals. All right, so under the output peripherals, that is where we have those devices that helps us to obtain information from the computer. That is where your VDU which is also known as the monitor, falls into. That is where your projector falls into. That is where your plotter falls into. That is where your speaker falls into. All right. So basically, we can actually read that aspect and understand it ourselves. But tonight, I am taking us from computer appreciation into another subject, which happened to be the very first practical subject when breaking into technology, particularly the computer itself, all right, which is mastering the Microsoft Windows. All right, so let's look at the definition. You can be taking your notes. You can be taking your note because I actually want to see how I can cover everything that we need to know on Windows in this session so that our next meeting, we shall be looking at Microsoft Word so that we can start learning how to process Word. Please, once you join, endeavor to always turn off your audio. And if possible, your video, if it's not stable, please kindly put off your video if you cannot be stable. All right? Please do note that these videos will be uploaded on YouTube. So if you are the type that does not want people to watch your fine house or your handsome face, make sure you turn off your video. All right? Okay, so now let's dive in. So let's quickly spend some time to understand Microsoft Windows. Now, who is Microsoft? That is the first thing we are to consider. Who is Microsoft? So Microsoft is actually a product of Bill Gates. All right, the company is officially known as Microsoft Corporation. All right, so when we say Microsoft Windows, let us picture it this way. What is Windows in computer before we attribute it to what? Microsoft. All right, because after now, we are going to be exposed to different Windows. So let's get it understood. What is Windows? As far as computer is concerned, the word window means an interface or the portion of an application that you can see at that very moment when it is open on the screen. All right, so when we say Microsoft Windows, we are talking about the interface that was developed by Microsoft itself. And that is why we say Microsoft Windows, because there are different Windows. All right, and these windows are actually attributed to the what? To the owner. That is why when we get to Microsoft Word, the term will change from Microsoft Window to Microsoft Word window. When we get to Excel, it will also change from Microsoft Word window to Microsoft Excel window. So which means that each time an application is open, or each time someone, a programmer, develop an app, he or she will always give the users an interface for them to be able to interact with that application. All right? For them to be able to manage it. So tonight we are looking at that Microsoft window. So we can define Microsoft window as an example of system software. Now listen, probably in the computer appreciation, I must have talked about categories of softwares. Software means command. They means what? Command or instruction or set of instruction or collection of instruction put together for a particular purpose or for a specific purpose. All right? Now, in the world of computer, we have two types of software. If a software is not an application, that software should be what? System software. All right, so application softwares, these are softwares that are created or developed to address a specific challenge or to solve a specific problem. For example, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is not for graphic design. It's designed specifically for what? Messaging and for video what? Conferencing. Anything outside that count WhatsApp out. That is how we have millions of software. So any software that is not developed for general purpose, in other words, any software that is created to address a specific task or problem, that should be referred to as an application software. That is why under application software, we have Microsoft Word, we have Excel. Because by the time we get to Word, you now get to know that Microsoft Word is created specifically to solve word processing problem. All right? And that is why we have Excel, which is also created to solve a basic calculation and record management problem. That is how we have Photoshop for what? Graphic design. So you can go on and on. You will not agree with me that truly application software are developed to address specific problem. All right. Now let's shift our focus, because why I have to go that way is for us to understand where we are deriving the one we are focusing on tonight, which is the Microsoft window. So that at the end of this training, if anybody asks you that the Microsoft window, under which category of software does it belong to, you'll be able to say something. So Microsoft window is an example of system software. So now, how do we define system software? Right? Since we said the application software are software that are created to address specific tasks. Now, what will now be the system software? So we can now define system software as generalized software, all right, that is dedicated or created to ensure the smooth running of the entire computer. Let me take it again. The system software are a set of software dedicated to ensure the smooth running of the entire computer. Now, when I say entire computer, I am not just talking about the mouse. I am not just talking about the keyboard. I'm not just talking about Microsoft Word that is running on that system. I'm talking about what? A software that can handle, that can manage all the resources within the computer. So it's the one that ensures that what? The hardware peripherals, the mouse and the keyboard, are assigned instruction. That is why whenever you connect the mouse to your system, if it does not drive it, if it does not acknowledge it, the mouse will not communicate. That is to tell you how powerful the system software is. All right? So basically, whenever you hear, look at the word system software. So I can as well say computer software. So if you, just like we are saying that we have different software, and one particular software is for Prosper, which means that that software was developed for Prosper to function. And that is why it is called system software. So for the machine to work properly, there must be a system software installed. So let's look at example of this system software. For those that are writing, example of this system software. Number one, we have the operating system. All right? So the operating system is what, in a layman term, we can break it down to what? The Microsoft Windows. So we have different types of operating system. So look at the word operating system. As you are now, the way you operate is quite different from the way I operate. Some of us, you wake up 11 a.m. Some of us wake up what? 3 a.m. Has that changed us from being human beings? No, we are all human beings, but with different what? Operating system. All right? So every device, every technology must have an operating system. So if I'm just to picture different categories of operating system, we have Windows operating system. We have Mac operating system. We have Linux. And Linux has different distribution, such as Ubuntu, Kali. All of them are what? Operating system. Your phone, the reason why you call a particular phone an Android phone, because of the type of operating system powering that phone. iOS. These are what? But the difference between the Windows operating system and the mobile operating system is that Windows operating system are installable, right? You can remove them and install them from outside. But the mobile operating system, they are embedded what? That's what they are built already in the what? The phone. I don't know if anybody is following. Can I get a response from at least one person just to know if we are following?
We are following, sir.
Okay, good. All right. So under the example of operating system, we have the Windows. Under the Windows, we now have different series. We have, remember, we start from Windows DOS, or let's say Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8. We don't have Windows 9. Then from Windows 8 to Windows 10, from Windows 10 to Windows 11. That is the latest that we have. And Windows 11 has been in existence for about 3 to 4 years now. I am very sure that very soon they are going to bring a new window. All right. So now somebody would like to know, sir, somebody running Windows 8 and somebody running Windows 10. What is the differences? Now, the difference is that one is latest, and the implication is that somebody who is using the lower version of Windows will probably not be able to what? To use some latest developed applications. It's just like even on our Android phone, we all experienced it. There are some applications that will tell you that you can only have Android phone 7.0 or 15 point above before they can be installed. So that is just the difference. All right. So I just said that so that you know the reason why if you are buying a laptop, always ask the vendor, what is the bits? What is the architecture of this laptop? What is the architecture? The architecture, all the window has just two architecture. All right. Now I'm going to break it down so that you understand it. The architecture determines the volume of information that can pass through a channel at the same time. We have 32-bit what? Architecture. We have 64-bit architecture. If you are buying a laptop that is only compatible with 32 bits, you are making a very big mistake. Never in this era. Don't buy any laptop that is not structured to run 64 bits. All right? Because a 64-bit architecture processor, because everything starts from the processor. If a processor in your system is not designed to be able to what? To accept Windows 64 what? Bit, it's not going to what? To go in there. And you know what that means? Most of the applications today, they are applications that are compatible with 64 bits. So I just have to sell that idea so that next time you want to buy a laptop, don't just buy a laptop, find out what is the window architecture compatibility. All right. So it's just talking about the data processing what? Bandwidth. System with 64 bits, they are always faster and they can process what? Much information than what? 32. In fact, 64 is like times 2 of what? 32 what? Bits. So let's understand that. So understanding how the window works gives you, as a beginner, a very strong background. All right. So you will notice that once we are done with this window, and we advance into Microsoft Word, you will see the way, to some extent, you are going to be handling the computer with some confidence, because now you understand how the machine itself operates. So let's quickly look at some of the functions of the Microsoft window. And that will take us to, why should I have Windows installed? Once you purchase a system, being it laptop or desktop, you must start by installing the operating system, which is, in this case, Microsoft Windows, whether Windows 10 or Windows 11. Why? Number one, is the one that permits you to install those application software that we have described earlier on. For example, there is no system that can allow you to install Microsoft Office Word without installing the window. That is the first function. So it allows us to install what? Applications. Number two function of the Microsoft window, it allocates memory storage capacity to all the storage what? Devices connected to it. For example, when you connect your flash drive, it is the Microsoft window, which is now the operating system interface given to you, to what? To assign a prompt to it. A prompt is just like you have this line to communicate. So every device that is linked or connected to the system has a command prompt from the window. So if the window is not communicating with it, that device will not respond. That is number two reason. In other words, it allocates what? Command. All right, including the storage. Another reason why the window is very important is because the window allow us to manage icons. So all these pictures you are seeing, they are called what? Icons. They are called icons. So that is one of the functions of the window. If your window did not boot, you are not going to probably what? See all these icons. And as a beginner, you need to start by understanding the Windows after knowing what computer is. So that I've given us about 5 or 4 functions of window now. The first one is that what? It's I remember I mentioned, it may not be the first one, but I mentioned it allocates memory storage to devices. 2, it assign command. In other words, it activates all the peripherals. Is the one that turn on the mouse, is one that turn on the keyboard, is one that turn on what? All the what? The devices, so long they are connected to it. So we must get that right. Now, another function of the window is that the window allows us to password to secure our system. You know, we live in an era whereby the internet is very what? Is very porous. A lot of things are happening. People can easily be hacked on the internet. That's why you see that cybersecurity is now reigning, because now a lot of people have developed what? Confidence on the internet. And the more people are developing the confidence, the more people are trusting the internet to store their information. And the more people are storing their information, the more the services of cybersecurity experts will be needed to secure those information. So the window allows us to password our system. The windows allow us to what? To create folder. All right. So in a moment, I'm going to, expose us to some technical skills that we must have for us to be able to manage our Microsoft Windows. But right now, I'm just highlighting the functions so that we know why we should understand the usage of this aspect of your computer. So we can go on and on and on and on talking about different functions of the Microsoft window. Any question?
Yes, I have a question, sir. Can you hear me?
Sorry, please, can you come again?
Okay. My question is this: how can this window be installed in a system?
Okay, that is a very good question. Sir, to install the window, you need a different professional. So you need to go and consult a technician, those that we call computer engineers, those that maintain it. When it's spoiled, those that repairs it. Okay, it's not what you can actually learn in this training. All right, so I also train on that. All right, but not in this program. Okay, so you are as an operator, it is not your responsibility to install the window. So there are different sets of professionals that are to what address that. Okay, to set up your system for you. If you live in Lagos, you go to Computer Village. If you live in Asaba, you can go to Kowe. If you live in Onitsha, you can go to this popular plaza. So wherever you live, find out where these technicians operate. I believe every state has the place where they assemble them. If you don't have anyone, then as if you don't have idea of their market, you can talk to someone around you. But certainly, it is not your responsibility as a computer world operator. I hope I've answered your question, sir, before I proceed.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now let's look at what are the skills that I need to have for me to effectively manage the Microsoft Windows. Number one, you must know how to manage folders. So here we are entering the practical aspects. So any practical thing I'm doing, make sure you are writing your step. Now, for example, you see all these pictures you are seeing, they are movable anyway. You can change their location. They are referred to as the Windows icons. They are referred to as what? The Windows icons. So now let's look at when we say Windows icons. Windows icons. So we need to understand some of these terms. An icon is a graphical representative or representation of either a folder, this is a folder, this is a folder, or a program, this is a program, or a file, this is a file. So there are three things and icons within the Windows represent. And you as a computer operator, you must differentiate them. So if you go for an interview and somebody asks you, what is this type of icon called? You should be able to tell him or her that this is a folder icon. If you go for an interview and somebody asks you, what is this icon called? You should be able to tell the person that this is what a program what icon. Now, another word for program is software. So you can see that this is what an application, or this is what software, but this is a folder. Now, I want us to now understand what icons are. So I'm starting with what? The folder icon. So how do we define folder? That's the next thing. I expect us to be making our notes. So what is a folder? As a computer user, this can be some of the interview questions when they want to test your computer background knowledge. They can ask you, what is a folder? So a folder is a logical storage unit, all right, that contain related files. A logical storage unit that contain related files. All right. So there is difference between file and a folder. Let me use your house that you are in there. You have a traveling bag, isn't it? You have a traveling bag. That traveling bag can represent a folder. And by the time I unzip the traveling bag, I am going to see contents that are connected. You cannot tell me that your cloth is not related with the shoe that you have inside the traveling bag. And that is why I said is the logical unit, all right, that stores what? Related files. So let's take note of that. So a folder is what? A storage. Number one, that is the takeaway there. So what type of storage is a folder? We have the main computer storage and we have the sub computer storage. Where does folder belong to? A folder can never be a main storage. For example, the whole of this interface is called the desktop or the graphical user interface of the window. So the window, the operating system actually provided this environment for us to be able to to communicate with the system and then for us to get the response from the system. So the whole of this interface you are seeing is a storage. That is the reason why I was able to store this file here. That is the reason. In fact, everything I have here, they are stored here. So it's a storage. So which means that what these folders, they are folder existing under what? The GUI or the desktop interface of the computer. I hope I'm communicating. Can I get a response from someone? Are we
yes, we are following.
Okay, so we need to understand that a folder is the storage, number one. Now, as a computer user, as a beginner, why do I need to know how to manage my folder? The purpose of folder is to segment information within your system for easier access or retrieval when they are needed. So one of the ways you know a professional computer user was the person shows you his desktop like this, and you see file not well arranged. Just imagine all this folder that you are seeing here. That tells you that I have a lot of things that I do with the system. Imagine I have scattered them all over this place. There won't be breathing space. So what I have done is that I have packaged them. You can see the way I label them, all work. All these names that I gave to those folder, they are descriptive names. They are names that describe the type of information they are holding. And that is the standard. Any folder you create, try as much as possible to name it according to what you plan to save in there. So that when you want to call back that information, looking at the name alone will tell you that, oh, this is where the file is. So if you are working in that office and each time your boss asks you to call out a particular file, it's taking you 1 hour to look for it. It means you are not a good data manager. And that is where you bring in folder. All right. So now that we understand what is folder, let's quickly look at how do we create the folder. That's the first thing we should know. How do I create a folder? To create a folder, if you are using the laptop mouse, there is a button called the left button and the right button. So you right click on an empty space, and then you navigate to new, and then you see folder. So once you click on the folder, every folder you create for the first time will always come with a default name. Now that default name should not be used. All right. So I'm saying that you should not name your folder new folder. That is not a descriptive name. Now, if, for example, this folder will be used to keep all my clients' information. So I will name it what? Clients info. You see, that is a descriptive name. So each time I see this name, I know, oh, this is my client's information. And then I will click outside once I've given it a name. The moment you click outside and the name is accepted, it means that the folder is successfully created. All right. Now, you have just created this folder. If you hover the mouse pointer on it, you will know whether you will have certain information about that folder. Number one, you will know when that folder was created. Number two, you will know what? Whether the folder has information inside it or is empty. You can see it now. Immediately I touch it, I'm seeing what? Empty. Now let me touch this one. Instead of telling me that it's empty, it's telling me the volume of information I have there. 300 what? Bytes. Very light. That is not even up to kilobytes. All right? Because if we talk about computer storage measuring units, it starts from bits to bytes, from bytes to kilobytes, from kilobytes to megabytes, from megabyte to gigabyte, from gigabyte to terabytes. So you should know all this. All right. So when you say byte, when you say bit, you are talking about what? Tens. When you say byte, you're talking about 100. Once you mention kilo, you're talking about 1,000 and above. Once you mention one megabyte, talking about million, gigabyte, billion, terabyte, trillion. So you should know all this. All right. So now we have just learned how to create a folder. Now, the next thing that we need to know is that how do I, let's say I want to rename the folder. I want to rename the folder. How do I rename it? For example, I mistakenly name it client info instead of what? Just client. And you have stepped out. You have to go back and click on it, then right click on it. And then if you are using Windows 11, you are not going to see rename. You have to go to what? Show more option. And then from there, you will see what? Rename. And that will call the information back and make it in what? Editing what? Mode. Now you can now quickly delete the one you don't want and then click outside to what? To re-acknowledge it. Simple as that. That is how you can rename your folder. All right. Now, the next thing you need to know about folder is how do you what? Open it up to see what you have inside the folder. All you need is either you right click on it and select what? Open, or you double click. Double clicking means you are pressing the left button twice. Please, we don't have double click for the right button. Don't go and say double right click. We can only what? Double left click. All right. So once you double click, that will give you access to the what? To the folder. And currently, there is nothing inside this folder. So I will just maximize or minimize it here. Or let me bring it out like this. I can just what? Restore it here, which means that I can even click on this edge and reduce it. Are you seeing it? You can adjust the folder, sorry, the window size. Now, why am I adjusting it? I'm doing that for a reason, because I want to show you how you can quickly save some files that are already existing in other storage inside the folder. Why am I showing us this? Because it is possible that before you create the folder, you have been scattering files within your system. Now that you have an idea of how folder work, you want to now tidy up your system GUI. So what do? You open it up like this. This is one way. Then let's say I want to relocate these two files inside. The moment I have opened it up, all I need to do is to highlight both of them. You can see it now. Just stay somewhere above them, hold down the left button and drag, and that will select any icon it come across. Now, once you have done that, click and hold down on one of them, and then you move. You can see that with this, I have just cut and pasted. What I did now in computing is called what? Cut and paste, which means that you have totally removed those information from their initial storage to somewhere else. So if I want to also take them away from here and bring them back here, the same thing, just click and highlight them, then place the mouse pointer on one of them, hold it down, the left button down, and then drag and then bring them back. All right, so that is how you can actually relocate content into a created folder. That is one option. Now, another option is that you simply right click on the particular element or item you want to save. click on copy. Then you can now go and open the folder, double click on the folder. Once you are inside the folder, right click within that empty space and then tap this that says what? Paste or Control V. And that will help you to what? So but this one now, this is not cut. This is like you duplicated it. This is like you back it up. All right. So should in case you lose this copy, you can always what? Restore it from this folder. All right. Any question, please? Any question? Any question? And I also want to ask if we are following. Are we following? Are we?
Yes, we are following, sir. We are following.
Okay. So what I would advise us is that make sure that if you miss any part, sit down with them.
No, sir.
Okay. Emmanuel Power, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So how do we differentiate folder with other file?
Okay, I'm still going to come to that. I just want to finish everything that we need to know basically on folder before I move to file and the program. Okay, so now we have learned few things about folder. We've learned how to create folder. We have learned how to rename, how to name the folder, how to rename it, and how to save, how to relocate information inside the folder. All right, so now David Musa, you are just showing us your fine house. Don't worry, I will visit you very soon. Okay. Okay. So now let's shift our focus to another icon. We have identified what? One category of icon. Now we know that folders are all this yellow picture. Once you see this yellow color, right? They are folder. Basically, they are folder. So we have more of folder icon on this window than what? Other folder. Now let's identify another icon. Another icon is file icon. So you say this is file icon. This is file icon. This is file icon. Like he asked, how do we differentiate them? Now, the best way to differentiate, once you see an icon that have a descriptive name like this, you know that what? Like TikTok link, you know that is a file. Digital ad, you know that is a file. All right. If it is a program, it's going to bear the name of the program, Microsoft Edge, Visual Studio Code. So these are what? Program icon. All right. Now, this is a file. This is file. Let me try and assemble them. You will see that the differences are obvious. You will see a kind of picture of what they represent, a little. All these are file. All these are file. All these are file. All right. All these are file. All these are file. So the more you use the computer, you get to know, once you see a file like this, you know the program that was used to create it. For example, this is PDF, portable what? Document file. All right. So this is a file that can be read with Acrobat or Adobe Word Reader. Now, once you see this one, this is what? Notes. Then this one, W, this is Microsoft Word. So with time, as you start using application, you will get to know, once you see a picture of the file, you will know the application that was used to create it. All right. Okay. So now let's shift our focus. Now we can identify what? File. For now, we not just identifying file, we can also differentiate it from folder. We can also differentiate it from folder. All right. So I'm going to ask once I call your name, just kindly unmute and answer me quickly. James Eneche, just unmute. I want to ask you a simple question just to find out if you are following. If James Eneche can quickly unmute so that he can respond to my question, I will appreciate. So James Eneche, what is the difference between this icon and this icon? The difference between this icon, in fact, let me bring them closer. The difference between this and this. If James Eneche can hear me, let him respond quickly. If you cannot, probably maybe he's not here. Let me go to David Musa. David Musa, if you can hear me, what's the difference between this icon and this icon? David Musa, what is the difference between this? Okay, James Eneche is available now. Please, can you tell us the difference between this icon and this icon?
The yellow icon is called folder.
Good. Why this one is what?
While the white one is called file.
File icon. Good. All right.
File icon.
Okay, so I'll still be coming back. Now let's look at the next type of icon, program icon. You see all this one, they are program icon. Let me bring them here. These are program. Remember, another word for program is software. These are software installed. These are user software. All right. And that is why I told us that if an icon does not represent a folder, it represents a file. It represents what? A program. You need to understand this. Now, this is a recycle bin, all right, which is like a temporary storage unit that store deleted item from the system that allow you to what? To restore them back. All right. So now that we know what icons are and different categories of icon, let us talk about how do we manage this icon. Let's look at icon, Windows icon management. How do you manage them? You should know how to delete an icon. If you feel that your interface is congested, how do you delete an icon? You should know how to delete. So supposing I want to delete this now, where's the one we created? And I know I've not stored anything valuable there. Good. I want to delete this. Being it a folder, being it a program, being it a file, the same process of deleting. So if I right click on this, you will see this word delete icon. All right. Or you can just simply click on it and press delete button on your keyboard. So that is how you can delete icon. Now the question is that when you mistakenly delete, because there are times that you can mistakenly delete, how do you restore it? And that will tell us where that icon has gone to. Does it mean that it has been deleted finally? No. That is why we need to know what this is, recycle bin. Recycle, which means that where you can always get it back from. So whatever you delete from the system-based storage, listen, so that you don't go and make this mistake. If you connect your flash drive or your external drive and you open it up, you have an icon inside or a file. You right click on that file and delete it. That is final. Take note, it is only item deleted from the system internal storage that goes into the what? The recycle bin. Your flash drive is an example of what? External storage. Your SD card is what? An example of anytime you delete anything from those external storage, never goes to what? Recycle bin. It is only what you delete from the internal memory of the system that goes to what? To the recycle bin, which means that if I want to restore what we just deleted now, it's possible. Why? Because I deleted it from what? The graphical user interface. So if I double click here now, that is going to give me access to it. So there are a whole lot of things that I've deleted. All right. So if you have the name, if you know the name of what you deleted, where you have a lot of things like this that you don't want to start scrolling until you get to it like this, you can just search it out here. Now, once you can locate the item you want to restore, you click on it. And then once you click on it, then you click on what? If you click on restore all item, everything that you have here will be what? Restore back. So I can just click here and say what? Restore the selected item, because it is only this one that I want to what? Restore. So once I click, it has gone back to the storage where it was before you deleted it. But it may not come to where the actual position it was before. But you will definitely find it here. Look at where it came here. So that is how to what is part of the skill that you need when it comes to icon management. Another skill that you need is that you should know how to arrange this icon. Look at the way they are scattered, not by moving them one by one. You should have an idea of a command, a single command you can click, and all the icons will be arranged automatically. So how do we do that? You look for an empty space, and then you click on what? Sort by. and then you can use any of this option. But I prefer using what? Item type. Now, the moment I click on this, what happened? Everything has been arranged what? Automatically. Am I communicating? I hope we are still following. Please let me get a response from at least one person. Please let us always respond fast. John Udodo, hope you are following. John Dodo, hope you are following. No, John Dodo is from Ghana. I hope you are following, sir. Abio Matthias, I can't really recall who that person is. Okay, I believe where he is probably cannot talk. Yeah. Okay.
We are together.
All right, sir. Okay, so now let's proceed. So I have just demonstrated 2 skills that you need to have for you to be able to manage your Windows icon. You should know how to delete icon. You should know how to rearrange them. Now, the third skill that you need to have is you should know how to tie all these icons together so that when next somebody tries to move them, they will not be movable. So how do we achieve that? You right-click an empty space. Then this time around, you are not going to sort by. You go to what? View. And then from view, you will now select what? You will now select auto arrange icon. So, which is another way of arranging icon. But whenever you use that option, all the icons will be automatically fixed. Look at it. If I try to move now, they are not moving. That is another skill you need to have. Somebody may be wondering, why will I need it? Yeah, you need it because when you have computer novice around you, and if you don't arrange the icon before you come back, they must have what? Relocated things that you have known to be in a particular place. And the next time you want to access those things, you see that it will be taking you longer time to what? Identify them because their position has been changed. And that is why you should know how to what? To do this. Now, how do you now unfix them? How do you now what? Loose them back so that they can be moved. Then you right click. The same step that you follow. You right click, go to view, and then you click on that same what? Arrange icon, and then you can now what? Easily what? Move them. The fourth skill that you need to have for you to be able to manage your Windows icon is how to hide all the icons. Now, I'm going to just point out 2 reasons why you should hide your window icon. Now, number one is that it makes the computer respond what? Faster. Because in case you don't know, the processor pay attention to all of them. So if you hide them, it means you have relieved the processor from what? Paying attention to all of them. And that will have a way of improving your system what? Response speed. That is one reason. Number one reason is that you are using a system where you prioritize this graphical user interface as your best storage. And you and I know that once the computer finishes booting, all users have access to seeing them. So what you do is that you hide the icon. So how do we hide the icon? You right-click on an empty space, all right? And then you go to what? To the view, and then you click on this last option. You can see that it's checked. That is the reason why you are seeing the icon. So once I click on this, all the icons have disappeared. So if I give this computer to a novice now, he or she will be thinking that the computer is still loading. So he will wait till probably Jesus comes. The computer will not be ready. But you and I know that the computer is not booting because you hide the icon. So once you resume back, you want to see the icon, you just right-click again, and then go to that same view, then tap it again, and then all the icons what will be automatically what? Restored. All these are skills that you need to manage your Windows icon. The fifth skill that you need to know is how to change this Windows background. If you are carrying a laptop up and down and you know that the area you live, police usually was harass people or probably search. One of the ways you can convince them that you are the owner of the laptop is that once they ask you to own it, and the next thing they see is your picture, it gives them some senses of what? You are the owner to an extent. So how do I change it? Now, that is one reason. Another reason why you may need to change this is that you might be using a background that is over reflecting on this icon. So when you are looking for a file that you save with icon here, because the background is what overshadowing it, you may not easily find them. So for that reason, you have to use a darker background. So background that you use should be calculated. Let it be a background that will not distract you, easily finding what you have stored here. So how do we change the background? Remember that this can only be possible if your window is activated. If your window is not activated, they will not give you this access. So let's quickly look at that. You right-click an empty space. You right-click an empty space. Then you now go to personalize. Go to personalize. So from personalize, that is going to take you to the system settings. All right. So that will take you to the system setting. Now, the moment you are here, you will see different. If your window is not activated, if you are seeing a message here that says activate your window, you may not be able to navigate or to turn on and turn off any of this. So for instance, I want to use this. I will just click, the entire background has changed. So if I minimize here right now, I'm just waiting for it to end. If I minimize here, you will notice that the background has changed. The background has changed. All right. So most time, those people that says laptop, they deceive beginners with fine background. Before you get to the market, they have used, fine background, maybe car, all those fine, London background. And then when engineer is telling you that you don't buy a system with the physical appearance, you are looking at the background, are thinking that the background cannot be changed. But right now, you now know that next time you want to buy a system, don't let anybody cajole you with the fine background, because they will put them so that when they are showing within their show glass, your eyes will be entering. This one has fine background. You should now know from this class that the background are just mere wallpaper that can be changed. That should not in any way influence you buying a system. Instead, you check the configuration. What is the speed of the processor? What is the speed of the RAM? These are the things you check. What is the model of the motherboard? Is it 8th gen or 10th gen or 11th gen or 12th gen or 4th gen or 3rd gen? These are the things that should define or probably influence you when you are buying a system. I hope you are following. Can I get a response from one person? IBK, I hope you are following. Let me get a response from you. IBK, are you here? Okay, so let me assume that it's following. All right, so we are still looking at the skills that you need to have to manage your Windows icon. Now, another skill again we need to have is how do I know the type of, in fact, that is going to be my next focus right now. The next topic, users account management. That is the next topic, users account management. So we have really dwelled much on understanding the graphical user interface and the icon. Now let's look at users account management. Now, what do we mean by user account? You see, two different people can save money together and buy one laptop and divide it into accounts, such that when A is working, all the file A has saved on desktop cannot be accessed by B, but all of them can share the installed application. In other words, once MS Word is installed in your account, you can use the Microsoft Word, but the files you are going to create with that Microsoft Word cannot be accessed by me, because we are going to be given different graphical user interface, which is normally known as desktop. So this environment is called graphical user interface. All right. So what is the purpose of user account? User account is one of the security measures put in place to check who accesses a system per time, so that if anything is happening, they know, oh, These are the people that what? That log into the system. It's a virtual way of dividing a single laptop into what? Multiple what? Laptop. So 5 different persons can what? Can use one system without them having access to their 5. But they all share what? Some of the resources like the application. So now, how do I know? Because there are 2 basic types of user accounts. We have the standard account, we have the administrator account. The difference between them is what? The privileges. An administrator account user has 100% right. Number 1, to uninstall application, to install application, to tamper with what? The settings, the cost setting of the system, because it's the what? The rightful operator. Now we have the standard account. The standard account is like, sometimes we refer to it as mere user account. This is an account you deliberately create in your system for those that are going to beg you that, please, can I use your laptop to handle my project for 2 days? I will return it. You are not supposed to give them access to your admin account, such person. So you give them the laptop, but you give them the login detail to the what? To the user or to the standard account. Why? Because on your behalf, they cannot uninstall anything. On your behalf, they cannot install anything. If they try to install anything on the system, the computer is going to be prompting what? It's going to be seeking the attention of the admin before they can be permitted to install it. So in that process, it's going to call you. Please, so Lagbaja, I'm trying to install something on the laptop you gave to me. Say, what do you want to install? And then by the time you get to know, if you want to permit it, you permit. If you don't want to permit, then you don't permit. So you can see the way you have checkmate that person's what? Activity. That's why I said what? It is a security measure put in place. All right. So in cybersecurity is a core topic that we teach you, because you see what I'm teaching us now. If you register in my cybersecurity class, you will see me still explaining this, going deeper, because then it will now be what? Window plus, not just for the user level. Because there are a lot of security features that we use to secure the system. All right. So the one that pertains to you is the user account. So the first thing we are going to learn right now is that, how do I even know whether my system is running administrator account or standard account? That's the first thing I'm going to teach us now. Now, because sometimes when all these engineers from Coreware, from Computer Village install our system, you don't even know which type of account they configured for you. And you are just busy carrying the laptop without knowing why some things are being restricted because of the kind of account they set up for you. You want to download something, they say you cannot. You want to install something, they say you cannot, just because of the type of user account that is installed. So how do we check it? Very simple. Now, to check the type of user account your computer is running, all you need to do, let's go to what we call the control panel. Control panel. So you just simply type in your search bar, just type what? Control panel. So once you type control panel, and then that is going to take you to the back end of the window. This is the back end of the window, not the back end of the computer, because the back end of the computer is what we call the BIOS, the basic input and output word system. But the back end of the window is this. All right. So which means that you can destroy your computer from this end, and you can also repair your computer from this end. So be careful when you come here. If you don't understand any feature, do not touch it. Or peradventure you touch it, take note of what you met there. So in case you are given the opportunity to what? To return it. So now you can see from here, we have user account. Now I'm easily to see it because I'm viewing this control panel with what? Category. Now, if I click here and I change it to what? Small icon, you see that what? Everything will be smaller. So whenever you want to easily see some stuff, always view with what? Category. With this, I can easily see what? User account. And then from here, if I click on as if I want to remove account or I want to change account type, once I click here, I'm going to know which account I'm using. Look at it here, administrator. And I have just one account on the system. Any question? Do we have any question, please? So that is how you can check your account. Any question first? Any question? I just want to add one or two things.
Yes, one question here, please.
Okay.
Please, what prompt did you give before you get to the back of the window?
All right. Sorry, what did you say? Can you come again?
The command you give before one could get to the back of the window where you are now. What do we type on the search bar?
So I type control panel here. Just click on the search bar and type control panel. Before you finish typing, you are going to see it. You click on it, and that will take you straight to what? To the back end of the window.
All right, sir.
We together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Because after this,
what about the standard accounts?
Good. Now, the standard account is not here. Please, can you, you have so much noise there. Now, the standard account is not on this system, all right? But if we try to create now, because if you want to create, if you come to manage Windows, let's look at remove account. So we are going to have an option to say what? Add a new account. Now, once you click on that option, you see what comes out here. All right, so you can actually follow this process to set up a Microsoft account. That is the one we call the cloud storage, where even if you go to another system, you can see access what you have. But as far if it is local storage, right, you have to go to what? Add other account, because this other the Microsoft version will require you having an email, a Gmail account before you can create this one. Once you have Gmail, you can set up this one. Now let's go with what? Other what? Account. Now from other account, you see that what is going to prompt us an option. Now, this is still asking me whether I want to create Microsoft account. I will say what? No, I don't have this person sign in information, so that it will switch me to what? To creating local account. Now from here, I will still say that what is not Microsoft. I'll say what? Add a user account without Microsoft. All of this is for me to have access to the local account. So I will just type the name of the account, let's say user. So this is the one you set up for your friends that would like to be using your laptop. You don't give them access to your administrator account. All right, so there you create your password. Let's say your password is 123. You repeat the password 123. You specify, you answer some questions. Definitely you have to answer some questions. Nothing is free. Some security questions. So you click here, pick the first question. If you don't know any name, just assume any name. So let's say Prosper. And then pick the second question. Then I'm picking this, just picking different information because of time. And then let's say the third question. And then let's say, okay. All right, once you are done, you click on what? Next. Once you are done, you click on next. So you have just set up what? An account. Now, let's go back to where we check now. Let's know whether that account that we created is the standard account or what? User account. Or sorry, administrator. So remember how we got there. Let's go to, now if I take this back, so let's say what? Let's click on this again as if I want to remove. Now you can see that what? That account is here. So that standard account is also called what? Local account. All right. Sorry, both of them are local accounts. But this one now, if I click here now, if I select it, how do I know whether it's standard? Just click on it and then come to what? Change the account type. You will see the two of them. You can see that what is programmed on what? Standard. So which means that initially, this staff is just a mere employee, all right? It's just a mere employee. But now the person has been promoted to admin department. So you will now what? Promote the person access to what? Administrator. And then you click on what? Change account type. You can see that what? I have been able to change from standard account to what? Administrator. But the next thing you need to learn is that how do I now switch? Normally, once you restart this system, the next time you try to log in, you are going to be presented with the two accounts. Then you will now choose which one you want to go in with. For example, if I click on this window icon here, I'm going to see this what? This icon here, this user icon. Once you click on it, you will see the account. This is the user. Once I click on this now, it will take you guys off from my video. You may not see me for some time, but it's going to what? Set up another desktop for me. And by the time that process is completed, I am not going to see all this icon. I'll probably only see the program here, like Zoom, like all this, but I'm not going to see all the files. So you can try it maybe after the class. Any question again?
So, sir, the question I want to ask, so once you create that at the administrator account, and somebody want to use the laptop, you have to give him access.
Yes, yes. Without giving the person access, he cannot access it. Are we together? Because we are rounding up this session. Because I just want to make sure that I explain everything we need to know basically on Windows. So which means that we are still going to sit down before the next class and watch this video and make sure you make your note, because I've really said a lot. Because I want to make sure that I don't bring in Microsoft Word. So Microsoft Word will be a new class. So the next class is the class you must not miss. And please, some of us, we are not telling people around us. This opportunity is huge. All right, just be kind to someone, just like the way we are being kind to you. All right, so just tell someone about this training. There are a lot of people around you that do not have these skills. I can tell you for free. And many of them are being deceived when they go to computer center. They allow them to enroll for web development, cybersecurity, without having this background. Just imagine after you graduate from this package, you now enroll into our data analytics, our web development. You will see the speed at which you are going to respond. If we add people that are coming from, a different background that have not been exposed to all these things that we're talking about since, you will notice that it will take them time to understand some of these things. So I believe you still have friends, people around you that you can still, the only thing that can happen is that once they register, these videos are recorded. They are there. We send it, once they pay, we send it to them. They sit down with the video, and then they continue from where, particularly that Microsoft Word. There are a lot of people that need Microsoft Word. Some people cannot type letter. They want to write CV, they will go to business center. Do you know the joy of you composing your CV? You'll be able to what? Customize it the way you want. Not the one you go to what business center. They will give you the someone customized CV and be changing your name, changing the person's name, editing. That means you are not unique. Or you want to write a private letter that you don't want somebody to know. Maybe you want to write letter to beg your landlord that you should withdraw the quick notice. And because you don't know how to write letter, the business center person have already know that you are given quick notice. So there are lots of things you want to do in an office that you don't want people to see. But because you don't know how to write, you will now be what? Be forced to go and give outsider. And then from there, don't be surprised. They save a copy in your system. You don't know how risky it is. When you are, after you have left the business center, there's possibility of what? Your information what? Be escalated or linked to what? To someone that shouldn't have access to it. So that's why everybody should have knowledge of Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. That is why we assemble those ones. And internet, because we're also going to teach you how to manage your email. A lot of people don't know how to send email. We don't know how to reply email. We don't know how to forward image. We don't know how to attach information to our email address. All these things are in this program. And that's why you see that I'm a bit fast with this one now, so that we can get to where we will start dealing with things that will take time. So please, I'm appealing, tell your friends, tell people, connect people to this platform, and make sure you don't make mistake of leaving any of our group, because more opportunities are on the way. Very soon, we are going to host a tech summit where I'm going to bring other experts like me that have spent years in the field, and it's going to be free. So make sure that you are in those groups. Don't leave any group. Sometimes when I see people leaving a group because they ask you to pay 10,000, do you know what I've taught you only today now? If this is the first time you are saying this, it's worth more than that 10,000. Imagine somebody teaching you Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and people are not able to pay and they are leaving the group. It is well. All right, so I want to stop here because I've really explained everything I plan to explain. And there are still some other things. Maybe as we start working with Word, we'll still be related with folder, we'll still be related with files. And then from there, we'll keep building on it. Any question? If there's no question, so that we can begin to.
Our next class will be when, sir?
Yes, I think I've sent us a timetable. We now have a standard timetable, a timetable that will not be changed. Can somebody quickly check the group you are in and tell us? I have posted it here. Somebody can help us, because I don't think I have it up, but I know that each day I check mine. Who can quickly check the group? I have sent, I think we'll be meeting twice in a week.
I think it should be Tuesday and Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m.
Is that what I sent there? Can you resend it in the group? Let me just get it. Is it what I sent that you are quoting, or just check? Okay, I think
it's Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. and Thursday.
Good. Don't think, please, so Saturday is no longer there. Tuesday and Thursday. Thursday, we are meeting again. Thursday, we are meeting again. All right? Please. So the only thing I'll be doing is just to be dropping the link. So everybody should know these days. Okay, so I think at this point, if there's no other information or question, we can draw the curtain. So like I said, once the video gets to your group, make sure you sit down with the video and recap it again. Make notes. From everything, you will see number of pages that the notes will have spanned into. We have actually said a lot. All right. And how many of us are in our main group? There is a main group. There is our tech community group. That group is a group that we can guarantee of sending information outside this particular, because this group that you are in is just for this fundamental training. We have a group where we give all the information, maybe upcoming free training, other program, where we give them. If you are not in that group, you let me know, or maybe after the class, I'm going to drop the link so you can belong to that group. Make sure you are there, because that is where that group is constant. Like this group that you are now, once we are done with this training, I may not be communicating to all through this group. But if you are in that main group, you'll be able to get all our communications. All right? I think we are good to go. Are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll just give room for two persons. Please quickly, just say something about our training. Do you love our training? Just say something briefly. Let me start with James.
Yes, the training is really wonderful.
Thank you.
We really enjoyed the training. We pray God will continue to bless you more and more, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Right, let me hear from one more person before we close. Just want to be more encouraged to continue to do this.
Certainly, sir. Thank you very much it's very insightful. We hope to continue from this fundamental to other classes.
Thank you.
God bless you, sir.
Man, and you too. We appreciate you for believing, for trusting us. Some people saw the advert, but they were scared. How can somebody learn all these things for just 10,000? Thank God that you believe. Right? Thank God that you did not miss the opportunity. All right. Bye for now. Good night, everyone. My regard to your families. See you on
All
Thursday.
right. Good night, sir.
Good night, Mr. Pastor. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night,
night, Mr.
everyone.
James.
Good night,
Good night,
Mr.
Mr. Boy.
Adeoye,
Mr.
Mr.
Nature, good night,
Good
John.
night.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.